Hey, so hi. For today's video, it has occurred to me that there are some really cool, weird science fiction and fantasy books on my shelf right now that I've not read yet. And I thought I would do a cute little themed, weird books reading vlog. I think I know all three books I want to try to get through within this time frame. Really, all of these I anticipate will be like five-star reads for me. I love books that are weird. Um, but the thing is, sometimes it takes me a long time to actually get to the books that I want to read the most because I feel like I get it set up in my head that there's like a right time for me to read them. But like, if they really are going to be one of my favorites, any time will be the right time, right? So there's that. The first one that I'm going to read for the vlog is Vida Nostra, which is by Sergei and Marina Dyachenko. They originally wrote the book in Russian. They're both Ukrainian authors. They're married, and although I think that Sergei did recently pass away, or somewhat recently, if I'm not mistaken. But this translated into English by who did this? Julia Hersey? Hersey. Sure. So I will be reading a translated book first. So far, I'm like only 25, 30 pages in, and it's weird. Basically, it's about this like girl who starts doing random tasks for this mysterious man, and they're like super random. Like you have to like get up in the middle of the night and swim naked to a shore, but he's not even there. Like no one's there looking at her. And if she doesn't do what he says, bad things will happen. And she gets paid in coins. They're these magical looking coins. But like he doesn't give them to her. She vomits them when she completes a task. My understanding of this book, some people are calling it like dark academic Harry Potter because apparently there's like a school for special technologies or some kind of like magic school that comes in the picture. So yeah. Curious to see what this will be like. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying the writing. I'm enjoying the kind of strange, fantastical, kind of magic-y elements. We're starting to see like a little bit of time manipulation, which can make me nervous, but it's not so much going back in time, but we are seeing time reset sometimes, even when in the first like 25, 30 pages. It has been a long day. I do have some tidying up to do. I need to pick up my husband from work because we are currently a one-car household, so that's nice. But my goal is that I sometime tonight will begin to unwind again and read some more. Okay, so I'm not super far yet. It's been a really chaotic week, but I've made it to the 70s of Vida Nostra, and I spent some time at my local Panera because I love Panera. I'm about to go into Target, but so far, this is a really cool book. Like, I love the writing style. I love the kind of richness of each setting. I'm liking our characters so far. I definitely understand where people are coming from when they say it's a mixture of like Harry Potter and Kafka. I haven't read a ton of Russian literature though, so I mean, I'm not really an expert on which other Russian authors to compare this originally in Russian book to, but whatever. It's dark. For sure. Basically, our main character, you know, she's been kind of seeing this guy that makes her do really weird tasks, and the money that she vomits up is going to pay for this like school of special technologies, and we're at the school now, and it's a little disconcerting. The guy that she buddies up with has an even closer connection to the mysterious man that she had seen. Ferit, I think is how you say his name. Basically, all of the second and third years at the school are like, they all have weird injuries. And they're all like walking into stuff. So it's just kind of this sense of foreboding that whatever you're going to do at this school is going to physically harm you. And so far, she went into her first like meeting at the school, and they basically tell you that you can be mentally, emotionally harmed at this school doing whatever you're supposed to do. And their first assignment is they have to memorize this passage full of gibberish. They don't know what language it is or anything, and so it's hard to make any sort of meaning out of it. But yeah, and it kind of sounds like you can't escape now that they're here. A lot of them thought they were gonna just, let's try this out and then get out of here, because it's not like she's the only one. Our main character, Alexandra, Sasha, those are both her names. I don't know if it's a situation where Sasha's the middle name or what. I don't really remember, but she and everybody else, they all just kind of thought they were going to try this out for a day and show up and then peace out. But it sounds like that's not the case. They're all in the same boat. None of them want to be here. So I understand where people are saying it's like miserable Harry Potter. So instead of going to the school and everything is fun and magical, everything's freaking scary, like really freaking scary. But yeah, there's definitely that feeling of dread. It's just, but it's very intriguing too, and it's well written. So I'm definitely having a good time, even though I'm not very far. I finished this. So the psychological turmoil of just wanting Sasha to be able to get out and to live a full life again, but then also like wanting to know what this all means. So if you've studied like literary theory in your life, this is it's structuralism. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But there is so much structuralism in here. It's crazy. There are some moments that are genuinely like really unsettling and horrifying, and then some of them are just so like magical. Like it's just the perfect combination of being really dark but also like super intriguing and fun, and you want to move on. I love how they wrote about Sasha's changes in the book, because when she first starts off at this school, the institute, she's observing that the second years are like really weird. But like, we start to see her make those transformations as well, but she doesn't seem to understand it. Like, she doesn't fully understand that she's just like them now. It's just like little observations that she makes, like, oh, I can't find the door frame. Like, girl, what? And then like other people will make comments like when she goes home, like, are you okay? Like, people think that she's on drugs and stuff like that, and she like doesn't know what they're talking about. She's so sucked in. And I did not guess the ending. I didn't guess any of this about what any of this would mean. The ending is open-ended a little bit, and I like that. I like how this book ends. And apparently apparently there's more. Apparently there's 2 other books in the series. One of them has already been translated into English, the last one is not. But the thing is, even though, like, this is like one of my new favorite books, y'all. I loved it that much. I loved the vibe, I loved the plot, I love how clever, like, the, for lack of better term, magic system is. It's really rooted in philosophy. I love it all, and the thing is, I almost am scared to go forward because I kind of like what this ending means to me in itself. And I kind of like the idea of her story stopping here. Like, and I've never felt this way before when I read something that has a sequel. Like, this is the first time I've read something that has a sequel that I love. Then I'm kind of debating just not continuing. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to sit with this one for a little bit. And maybe one day when I'm ready to go back into that world, be like, okay, what's actually going to happen next? I will. It's just, I don't know, it's really hard to explain how good this is. I understand why other people struggle to talk about it, because you can't, if I were to really tell you how amazing it is, I'd have to spoil it, and I can't. It's just, the reveal and what this all means is just, I'm so jealous I didn't come up with this idea. It's so unique, it's creative, it's dark, but not like, you're not going to be miserable when you're reading it. I loved it so much. So, my next book that I'm going to read is Absolution by Jeff Vandermeer. I'm so excited for this book. Like, I'm so excited. This is like release of the decade for me. This is the sequel to the Southern Reach series. It's got Annihilation, Authority, Acceptance. I already have a vlog where I reread those 3 books to prepare for this. I'll link it down below. Nobody watched it. Please watch it if you like this series. It does have spoilers in that vlog. I won't have spoilers in here. It's really weird. It's a very interesting science fiction about, like, the first one follows this biologist who is in this area that is changing somehow. And everything is very science fiction-y and uncanny, and it's like considered this pristine wilderness, and if you're in there for too long, things really start to get weird and you start to change yourself. And then the follow-up books, you don't really go too far into the future past that in the follow-ups, because sometimes it's more like a prequel or like what's going on at the same time. And you don't get all of the answers as to what this area is and why it's there. And my understanding is you do get a decent amount of answers in Absolution, so I'm so excited. It sounds like we're going to get some insight as to what happened during the first expedition. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. We're going to follow the character Lowry in the 3rd section, because there's 3 sections in Absolution. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. I'm not going to spoil anything, but my most anticipated release. If this is not 5 out of 5, I'm going to be really sad. But it's possible, because I gave the 2nd book of the series like a 3. But yeah, I've really been waiting for this one. So, to put in perspective how wonderful Jeff Vandermeer's writing is, these characters right now are scared of a generator. Because it might be kind of humanish, but it's a generator. And they're not really sure why they're scared of it. There's something about the way it sounds, which sounds ridiculous, but then when you're in it, it's a scary freaking generator. Also, I love that I'm like 30-something pages in, and like we already have some new information about the mystery of Area X even before, like further back in time, compared to how far back we went in the previous book, Acceptance. So, does that give us really answers? No. It gives us more questions. But, Jeff said on, I think, Twitter or Blue Sky or something, he said that There are a lot of answers in this book. It's very intricately plotted, so I know that it should be at least kind of satisfying. So I have less than 100 pages left in the part 2, which is called The False Daughter. This one, so the first section reads like a scientific literature review in some aspects, because it's old Jim talking about the different things that he discovered through the files about the Dead Town and the first pre-Area X expeditions. And so you don't really get into a lot of like interpersonal stuff or intrapersonal stuff for that matter. But now, in this part, we are definitely following old Jim as an emotional human being with the issues that he's having. And it's been nice. I like this character quite a bit. I do tend to prefer Jeff Vandermeer's female characters, but I do like old Jim pretty well. And I don't know, we have kind of an emotional arc, but we're also, he's trying to figure out what's going on in this town. One of the theories that I had, like, hardcore, and I was telling my friend that's ahead of me on this, he actually just finished the book last night, and I've had a theory, like, almost the whole time, and it's, like, debunked now. I don't know what's going on. There's this dude called the Rogue. I don't know who he is. I don't know how he's important. We are getting some information about him that doesn't make a ton of sense. I think that if you hated Central in the previous books before, the organization, you're gonna extra hate them now because they suck. They're emotionally manipulative. They disclose random information and then hide others. It's a little silly sometimes. There are some scenes of animal harm in this book, and normally that's such a deal breaker for me. I don't like that in literature at all. And I obviously don't like it now, but the thing is, I think it's not bothering me as much because some of these animals in question, they don't feel... We don't really know what they even are, right? Okay, like, they're supposed to be rabbits, but, like, there's something different about these things, you know what I mean? So it's not just like normal little cute innocent bunnies. There's something funky about them. So I mean, we also have that science fiction element that makes it feel unrealistic, but then there's also, I think one thing that, throughout this whole thing keeps me not so irritated about those plot points and them being there is this author has an absolutely deep respect for nature and wildlife and all creatures of the world. To put in perspective, because I follow him on social media and he's an absolute freaking icon. You should do that. One time, because he has trail cams around his property in Florida, and his favorite possum died, and he was very sad, but he said, on the plus side, his favorite pair of mated vultures got to eat it. Like, he appreciates nature for what it is, the nitty, the gritty, the dirty, the ew. Like, he just he has such a respect for them. And so that's something I always have in the back of my head when I'm reading about the, like, any animal character or, you know, weirdness in this book.
Look at how cute.
I'm so confused. I think I'm ready to talk about it. So, I finished Absolution. The False Daughter was definitely, like I said before, it was definitely the emotional heart to this particular book. Old Jim is a great character. I also liked Cass, his false daughter. If you know, you know. And I think things were kind of making sense. I still don't totally understand why Central does what it does all the time, but I think that they're kind of like beyond our understanding, if we're being honest. And then we get into Lowry's section, the final section, where you get to learn about the first ever expedition. And, you know, from the previous books, we know that there was one survivor, and we're following his perspective. I have heard online that he drops so many F-bombs to the point that it's quite distracting and can disrupt the flow of the narrative. I wasn't really worried about it for myself. The first couple chapters are rough because it's not like a normal amount of this guy curses a lot. Like, it's just, it really does disrupt the flow of sentences for the first couple chapters. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's like totally on drugs. And I would say once you get past the first couple chapters, it's easier to understand what he's saying. Is he a likable character? No. But even he is humanized a little bit more throughout the section. Jeff Vandermeer promised we'd get answers from this book, or more answers, I guess I should say. And do we? Yeah. I mean, we get some. And it's always in a vague Jeff Vandermeer kind of way. You get more context for sure. And at first I kind of was like, wait, this is how it ends? Like, because he starts to explore how time works in Area X. We've already known from the series that it works a little bit differently in some ways. And now we know it works, like, really differently. When I was looking around online to see how other people interpreted the ending, most people were not looking at it the same way that I was. My friend and I read this around the same time. He and I both agree, and I saw at least one person on Reddit that agreed with me as well. So it's not like it's out of the question. Even after reading the other interpretations, I think I'm right. Just saying, I think I am. I think that we have a very big clue at the end for how this ties into the other books. I think I'm right. But, you know, who knows? Maybe I'm not. I don't know. So now, the next book I'm going to read for this vlog, hopefully I give this one a 5-star. I did give Absolution a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. So this one is like my third favorite of the series out of the 4. So not at the bottom, but it's definitely, for me, Annihilation and Acceptance are my 2 favorites. But I have one more weird book that I think could be a new favorite. So I got Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. This is like a fantasy sci-fi horror, and it has to do with like killer mermaids. And our main character, it seems like her sister disappeared mysteriously studying this part of the ocean, and it's like not fun, cute, happy mermaids. These are sirens, okay? Like, we got some blood and stuff, and I'm only into like the prologue section. It looks like kind of a mixed media type thing, because you're able to read about like the footage, and then you get to hear different people's accounts or comments. And I don't know if the whole book's gonna be like that, because I just now finally hit chapter 1 on page 19. So we're gonna see. But yeah, I'm hoping I really like this one. Hi everybody, I'm sorry if you can hear the heater. It's really cold. So yeah, hence the pile of blankets, the fuzzy Christmas PJs, the robe. I wear the robe in the summer though, I just need to be cozy in this thing. I use it as a glorified Snuggie. But yeah, Into the Drowning Deep. This is how it's going. It has been a week and I barely filmed anything for this vlog, and my goal was to get some editing done on a science fiction book that I've had finished for a long time, but one of my friends wants to take a look at it and give me some feedback and stuff, and I really wanted to have some edits done today, and it's like I didn't even start. I didn't do it. I haven't had time. I've been working, I've been hustling, getting ready for the holidays, so it's getting to the point that I don't feel like a writer sometimes, because I can't make myself write when I'm already super stressed and burdened with other things. And yeah, I shouldn't say burdened, because some of it's good too, but yeah, that's not even the reason though why, like, I feel like, you know, editing and writing takes a lot more brain power than I feel like reading. Comparatively, it still takes a lot of brain power, but this is not going well because I am not into the writing style at all. So far I feel like it's just, we got a lot of words about a lot of things that I do not care about. Like, we're getting, like, I don't really need to know about this main character's dad's retirement. It seems to have no bearing on the story. It's, the dialogue is, like, not how people talk. It's awkward. And one of my friends really recommended this book to me, and he was so excited that I was reading it. And I told him these concerns. He's like, wait a minute, are they on the boat yet? And I'm like, no, they're not on the boat yet. And he goes, okay, listen, I had the same thoughts, but then once they're on the boat and the plot is happening, it's really good. So, I mean, that's fair, because I'm like, how many pages is this? I'm on page 47 out of, what, 440 something? Yep. So, I need to keep trying, but I need to edit. There's just too much to do all the time. I don't think anyone was meant to be this busy. And I'm not just saying like my life, I think all of our lives are entirely too busy. Like, on one hand, it makes me really upset when I see these dumb girls on the internet that are like, I hate having to work. I wish it was the 50s when women couldn't work, because I just feel like it's such a slap in the face for all the women that worked to give us these opportunities. But like, I don't want to sound like that, but I think I understand where they're coming from. And I think that it's not just a woman issue, it's an everybody issue. I think that we are all working a little bit too much. I think we could all use some rest. And, you know, time for hobbies and things that make us happy. So, I don't know. Part of me wants to do some editing. Part of me is too scared, because editing scares me. It's very overwhelming to me, and I haven't done a good edit of this book in a while. And then, like, but the thing is, I think I only need a couple quick edits that I want to make real fast for him to read. So I think I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to do that. And maybe before I go to bed, maybe I'll read some more, and maybe they'll be on the boat. I'm assuming I know what he's talking about, because you know, context from what I've read so far, but yeah. So as I've said before, even though this was like a weird books reading vlog, it's also like a 5-star predictions vlog because I love weird books and I always assume when I pick one of those up that it's gonna be 5 stars for me. If you've seen my first ever 5-star predictions vlog, I DNF'd the last one, which was a little embarrassing because it's like, wow, I thought I was gonna love this book and I could not even finish it. I fear it has happened again. This turned out to be not my cup of tea. I made it to page 124 out of like 400 something, so I made about a quarter of the way through, and they were on the boat, so I made it to the part where they're on the boat, right? But I think it's the writing style and it's the way that this author does character work. It just felt slow. There's information about characters that I feel like we should have been shown rather than told. And I think a big part of why this is happening is because I think that there's just too many characters for this type of story, in my opinion. A lot of people rated this really well on Goodreads, so I know I'm in the minority, and you know, that's okay. We can all have different thoughts. But let me read you a couple excerpts that kind of encapsulate what I'm talking about. Like some of the passages that I think are unnecessary are longer than others, but I think altogether, personally, I would have preferred a lot to be cut from this book. Like, we have passages like, when he hit one, the woman's face blossomed into a welcoming smile that invited viewers to ask about her day or tell her about their favorite D&D characters. Olivia Sanderson, geek goddess and current professional face of the Imagine Network, had been honing her image for years and knew exactly what balance to strike in order to get her point across. Ray had finished physical therapy, been certified healthy if no longer fit for the ring, and made his way straight to Imagine headquarters in Burbank, California to apply for a job, any job, whatever they wanted him to do. He was happy to do it as thanks for the second chance he'd been given. It didn't hurt that he'd spent so much of his savings on his new knees that he needed a job that didn't involve kicking people for money, something cushy and low impact. After his previous career, anything would have seemed cushy and low impact. So yeah, just like, I don't know, there's so many descriptions about so many characters that I think could have been shown, and then I think that the dialogue is just not, it just doesn't feel natural to me. I just feel like with this, like, usually with the horror type thing, within the first 25%, I guess I would expect something significant to be going on. Whether it's really, even if it is just really intriguing character work, which we don't really have. But yeah, I'm just kind of bored. I've been reading it for 3 weeks, and I just can't do it anymore. So this is gonna be a DNF. I did find my favorite read of 2024 though, which is probably gonna be Vita Nostra. Very excited about that. I'm so happy I got to read it. Absolution by Jeff Vandermeer. I loved it. It wasn't a 5 for me, but it was like a 4. I thought it was really good. So definitely got something out of this experience. I'm happy I got some of these off the TBR because they were really well anticipated. I've definitely taken a little break in December from making videos. I'm hoping to be back on track pretty soon. So I will see you guys later. Happy reading. Let me know what your favorite books were from the year since I found mine in this video. Bye!